Well, everyone, welcome. My name is Cameron Elyse, and I am a creative, multidisciplinary, an artist, a woman, a bad bitch. All these things and more because I don't confine myself to one title. We are here for my 21st birthday in Portugal. And do we need to say anything? Oh, you see the background, okay? So pretty much I am starting a cinematic podcast series. Haven't got the title yet. We're gonna get there. But I'm just doing it because like fuck it, let's just do it. And so essentially I'm creating this to be something for my younger self and for future versions of myself. It has nothing to do with business. This is all for Cameron Elyse. This is all for my personal development. And this is essentially going to be a growth and a journey of evolution with over the years that I do this cinematic podcast series, and just showcasing the totality and the beauty of life as itself. So, first things first, I turned 21 today. 1 in human years. Spiritually, I feel like I'm like a good 60, but that's another story. Um, but I turned 21 today, and man, I genuinely have no words. I think 21 has really taught me so many different things, and I've really been saving my thoughts being here. I think being in this room, this space, especially abroad, has just taught me so many different things about myself, who I am, and really where I see myself going. And I want to start with God as the source of everything that I've been doing, creating, seeing for myself. So, my journey with God has been one of, I wouldn't say turmoil, but it's definitely been something that I've had to find my own meaning with. I grew up AME Zion, and growing up in the church, I always saw people that would, talk the talk, sing prayer, praise, do all these things, but in real life, your actions would reflect the complete opposite. And, being close with like the PKs, you know what I'm saying? And like, of course, like, people are going to be people, but it just threw me the wrong way because it's like, how can you be so holy, holier than thou? But when it comes to you in real life, it's a completely different story. So throughout the years, I've really had to grow my own relationship with God. And that looks like you being able to understand what God means to you outside of what society projects. Because I think society makes God up in this figure of like this white man up in the sky. And it's like, I don't believe in that rhetoric at all. I believe God is a presence. It's a element. It's a spirit that is with us within every single thing that we do. And it's actually a frequency that you can tap into, I believe. And so as I've been able to grow, dive deeper into who I am at my essence as my soul, not this flesh, but diving deeper into who I am at my core, I've been able to tap further and further into the divine being within myself, which is an extension of God, and that's what I believe. And so with that, I mean, I think it's so important to be able to be divinely guided. And I think that a lot of people really don't understand what that actually means, and being able to fully trust God with everything that you have going on in your life, from your finances, from whatever. Like, all you literally need to do is pray. All you literally need to do is pray, having a prayer and having it be a raw, authentic conversation. Like, God is a God of all knowing. God is a God of, like, He knows you more than you know yourself. She knows you more than you know yourself. And so being able to understand that, you'll be able to come further with a sense of like authenticity of just talking to God as if it's like your bestie, because that's what the spirit is there for. It's there to guide you. It's there to be there as a pathway, but you have to talk. You have to open yourself up. You have to say, "Hey, I need your help." Because in this life, you cannot do any of this alone. In this life, you are not made to go into anything just with the strength of your own knowledge, because we've only been here once. We have only been here once. God has been here for eternity. We have only been here once. How dare we act like we know what's going on? Like, God is like, girl, who are you? And so I think that's so important to understand that. And again, building your own relationship with God outside of what the confines of a church looks like, of religion, building it yourself, because that is what is going to allow you to fully understand the depth and the spirit. Being here in Portugal, let me tell y'all, I don't know how I was going to get here, but we're here. We're filming. We're doing it. And that's what makes the difference. And being here, again, this is unscripted. This is just me talking my shit. You get what I'm saying? And so it's like, I really just appreciate the fact that I am able to develop a further and further deeper connection with God, because without God, none of this is going to happen. Without God, none of the things I plan to do with my life, none of that is going to happen, because I know that I need God every step of the way. I am nothing without God, because it's like I came on this earth through God. So being able to understand that, create your own version of a relationship with God, define it for yourself, and keep it as sacred. Everybody doesn't need to know, and don't listen to the noise of everybody telling you how you should have your relationship with God. It's your personal relationship, you know? And so understanding that, learning that, that is how I've been able to really grow within who I am, grow within how I see myself, and grow within the life and the version that I see, you know, and just elevating to the next level. I don't know. Your traumas cannot go where your future is. Your traumas cannot go where your future is. Personal story. I used to deal and am healing from anxious attachment style. Anxious attachment would show up in my relationships as anxiety, needing constant reassurance, and really just not having trust for my partner. And in my previous relationships, I can say I was a little bit of a problem. A little toxic, no, just a little bit. But the anxious attachment would essentially be a form of self-sabotage. And it would be hard for me to accept my partner for who they are, because I would be nitpicking them. And, oh, girl, I'm reading myself. Literally reading myself for filth. And I would be nitpicky. And I realized that that was another part of why, things didn't work out. So, long story short, I'm saying all this to say that when you are growing and you are evaluating who you are, your traumas of what happened to you in a child, you really have to figure that shit out. You really have to go deep into what caused me, again, I said this on an earlier podcast, what caused me to be this way? What caused me to feel like this? And why do I feel like that? And how can we work to unravel that? I think it's super, super important to not bring your past into your future relationships, because you're going to be operating out of a place that is not essentially at your fullest potential. You're going to be operating out of a place of anxiety, out of a place of distrust, out of a place that, I didn't receive love. And so you're not going to show love into the world, because you don't even know how to receive it. You don't even know how to accept it. So for me, what I had to do, had to dive deep into, again, that healing that inner child. When I was a kid, what caused me to not feel love? And for me, it was definitely a thing of, feeling neglected. As a child, I never felt heard. I never felt like I never felt like I was, I know I was a priority. My parents loved me, but it's still a thing of like, I feel like I was never really, really like a priority. It was like, oh, Cameron's fine. She'll be okay. But nobody really was like, damn, is she okay? Because I wasn't. And so I think that's one of the biggest things. And, furthermore, having to dive deeper into, why I do the things that I do, and, how your first relationships with your parents, your brothers, your sisters, your siblings, your immediate family is going to set the foundation for all of your relationships here on out, because you interact with your family first. Your family, essentially your immediate family, is the first any type of love, any type of anything you get. So if you come from a toxic household, you're going to be projecting that toxic household onto everybody else. If you come from a healthy household, it's going to be the same type of thing. But again, you have the power, as a grown woman especially, you have the power to facilitate who and where you see yourself, who you want to be in this life. And in order to really enact in that, You have to be able to dive deep into like, damn, this is what made me like, this is what caused me to be like this. Let's dive deeper into that. Let's unravel that. Let's unpack that. Because if you say that you want to be able to have a wife, household, marriage, da da da, there are going to be things that you have to compromise. And if you are not comfortable with diving deep into like your triggers, knowing what the fuck sets you off, you're not going to be able to really like, you're not going to be able to really get to that fullest because you're just going to be attracting toxic behavior. You're going to be attracting versions of yourself. You're going to be attracting different, essentially different parts of you that you haven't healed. And that's the type of love that you're going to keep getting until you really dive deep into why I act the way I act, why I do the things I do, and what is going to be the change to fix that. So being able to utilize that is really really important because it just stems so much further than just like, oh yeah, it's just relationships. It goes into the workplace. It goes into your kids, especially. Every single facet of who you are is essentially based upon like your experiences and what you've been through. So the more that you dive deeper into why I act the way I act, why I do the things I do, you'll be able to further dive deeper into like, okay, this is what caused me to be what I am today, and accepting that, to accept that shit. Like I came from a dysfunctional ass household personally. My parents did not like each other. It was not a great marriage. I didn't have a great example of what a good marriage looks like growing up. But that made me into who I am today, and that made me accept the flaws of myself and made me allow, like, you need bad in order to appreciate the good. You need bad experiences in order to allow you to, okay, I don't want to do that for my kids. You need this stuff. Like, you need character development, babe. Like, we were all put on this earth, I believe, for a specific reason. And I think that, again, that notion of coming back to yourself, what that essentially means is that you are coming back to who you truly are at your essence, at your inner child, before the trauma, before all that shit that happened to you. Come back to yourself. Come back to who you are. And that is what's going to influence you. It's going to shift you. That is what's going to allow you to really accept the blessings that God has, because you are operating out of a sense of gratitude, not a sense of, like, I can't accept this. My parents never gave me blah, blah, blah. No. And so this is what I'm saying. When you are evolving, when you're growing, when you're becoming a new version of yourself, those traumas, you gotta say bye. Because they can't go where you're going. You know what I'm saying? They can't go where you're going. You're too much of a baddie, girl. You're too much of a baddie, young man. You know what I'm saying? You're too much of a baddie. You feel me? And so if you really wanted to accept and be able to appreciate all what God has for you, you have to be willing to let go of the things that hurt you, let go of the things that influence you to, essentially, operating your toxicity. It's important to let that go and utilize that to be able to be open to what God has for you. The wind is blowing. It's so good. Yes. Wow. Topic number 3. Falling in love with the process. The process, y'all, it's beautiful. You have to learn to grow to accept it. The process, okay, so let me start back. When I was younger, I used to have such a disdain for like, yo, I want to be here, I want to be here, I want to be like popping, I want to be like famous, everybody know. You're rushing it. Calm down. You're rushing it. Slow down. I used to hear this saying all the time, you know, just take your time, appreciate it, take your time. And I used to hate that because it's like, what you mean I need to make 30 bands by tomorrow? Fuck is you talking about, slow down? But I really get what they're saying now, because it's like you have to take your time to smell the freaking roses, man. You have to take your time to smell the world, to appreciate the journey, because there is no destination. There's no destination. You can literally have a goal today and God's like, okay, girl, we actually gonna do this. It's like, don't get so attached to this outcome, this idea of an outcome. It's not even a real thing. Ooh, I ate with that one. It's not even the real thing, girl. And so it's so important to be able to detach yourself from what you think is going to happen, from what you think you want, and be able to allow yourself to really unwrapping the gift of life, of whatever it could be, the endless possibilities is essentially what I'm saying. And it's important to not attach yourself so deeply to this idea of who you see yourself becoming, of like where you see yourself going, because again, you have to be able to allow life to move, baby. You gotta allow life to life. And I never got that, but my older friends would always tell me, like, Cam, you gotta let life, like, you just have to live a little. And living a little taught me so much, in a sense of like allowing yourself to not just get enwrapped into this like one thing that you see for yourself, because you're going to miss out on so many different opportunities if you are only opening yourself to one perspective that you think you want. And it's like, what if that version of yourself that has everything you want didn't even take that path that you think you're going down? What if? What if? Open yourself up to expand your field of possibility, and that is the process. The process is a journey, and it's an everlasting journey. Even when I do projects, I don't even get excited at the fact that it's done. You know what I get excited about? I get excited about storyboarding. I get excited about mood boarding. I get excited about creating decks, because that is the process. And also becoming a master of the process. Understanding that everything is everything, and understanding that you are able to go into different phases of your life, and you're able to reinvent yourself at every single stage. You can think you want one thing, you can think you like one thing, and it'd be something completely different the next day, and that's okay. That's what life is about. You're supposed to change, you're supposed to grow, you're supposed to evolve, and falling in love with that process of evolution. That is what's going to make the experience of life so fruitful, because you are not attached to one thing. You're not attached to one identity. Release your attachments. Practice the laws of detachment. Practice the laws of the universe. Understand them. Study them. Be able to act in them, because that is how you're going to operate at your highest frequency. That is how you're going to operate at your highest capacity, because you understand yourself. You understand that this is just flesh. This is just flesh. Your essence is your soul. That's what matters. And so being able to understand that has really helped profound and like really like hyper evolve my journey, more than ever, because it's never about a destination. It's all about the journey, and being able to find yourself at different versions along that journey, and that's what makes life. That's what makes the beauty of life. It's the kiss of life. Growth. Growth is nasty. Growth hurts. Growth is disgusting. But it's necessary. It's necessary for your progression. It's necessary for your evolution. You just can't get around it. The process of growth is really annoying. Because it's like, it really hurts being stretched thin. It genuinely hurts you to grow. And I think we don't really like fathom the fact that we're growing, when it's like, damn, why is all this shit happening to me? Baby, it's growth. It's growth. You'll be okay. It's growth. You know? I think that for me, I've just learned to accept things for what it is. I'm not pushing anything anymore, and I have gotten to a point where I am just obsessed with growth at this point. I'm obsessed with consistently becoming a better person and having on a better person, and not just to stunt on niggas, not just to be like, oh yeah, I'm here, been her. And it's just a thing of like, growth causes you to face what you've been hiding. It's important to break down what has influenced you to become the person you are at this moment, at this point. Growth is something that is annoying, because it's like, I'm literally forcing myself to become a new person. And getting stretched thin is important, Getting stretched thin because it's like you understand what your true capabilities are in that growth process. It's important to find out who you see yourself becoming and then also have a vision for yourself. The biggest thing that has really influenced my growth trajectory is really isolation. Isolation is so necessary for growth, and I think that we really neglect just how important it is to be around your own thoughts. Have nothing but yourself. Have nothing but your own mind. Have nothing but your own perspective when it comes to, okay, I see myself here. How do we get there? You don't need to listen to that outside noise. And I don't care who it's coming from. Maybe it's coming from your family, your mother, your brother. Like, trust me, I've been through it. You have to listen to yourself. You have to listen to yourself. And when you are in tune with yourself, you are essentially aligning with the highest version of yourself. You're aligning with the highest version of yourself. And so it's important to ensure that when you are on a growth trajectory, that you are taking time to reflect. You're taking time to appreciate who you were before that got you to this place, because you can't go here and be that Wonder Woman, that Wonder Man, if you don't appreciate who you are right now, because everything is a building, everything is a stepping stone. You have to start here to get here to go there. You get what I'm saying? And so it's important to evaluate where you are right now, create a whole new identity for yourself. And that is that growth process, understanding, listen, this is where I'm at right now. What are my habits? Because your habits create your reality. Your habits create what you do every single day. If I am a college student, right? I'm drinking every day, I'm going to party, woo, woo, woo. What is that? Where does that lead me? Where does it lead me? And I see too many of my peers just doing the same shit. It's like, understand that college is just an amazing opportunity to really do your biggest one. And so it's important to understand that, like, again, isolation breeds growth, but then also being able to dive deeper into like who you see yourself becoming, because you have to have some type of direction, like having a vision with no real direct steps to get there. It's like you blind leading yourself. You get what I'm saying? And it's important to evaluate really where you see yourself and be able to utilize that as a catalyst for growth. So those are the things that have just like really helped me in my journey, my process. I have been through several, let me tell y'all, several reinventions of who I am, where I see myself becoming. And at every single stage, I learn a little bit something more about myself, because ultimately we're all just leading ourselves back to us, We're all just helping ourselves find our way home. And, it's a consistent reevaluation of coming back to who you're truly meant to be. And that's going to look different at every single stage. Let's talk about love. Love is beautiful. Love is kind. Love is nurturing. Love also hurts. Love hurts. Love in a sense of self-love, not even really relationships. Love is a frequency. I think it's important to understand that love does not have to be this traditional sense of like sacrificing yourself for somebody else. I think the most first and initial love you should have is the love of self. You should love yourself more than anything. And because people are going to come and go, essentially, people are going to be there for you, then they're not. People are don't put your trust in man. Bible says that clearly. Don't put your trust in man. Put your trust in faith. Put your trust in self, because you are essentially an extension of God. You know. Um, love. My love process has been very, very rewarding, because there were times when I genuinely like did not like myself. I didn't like who I was. I didn't like where I was going, but I had to learn to appreciate those moments of where I was that made me who I am today. I think now my experience with love is a little bit different, because standards are extremely, extremely, extremely high. And, men are lucky if they even have the chance to breathe in the same room as me. No, actually, yeah. Actually, yeah. But I also think it's very important to really just like, fall in love with yourself first. Fall in love with like what makes you you. Fall in love with the things that have influenced you. Fall in love with your hobbies. Fall in love, romanticize your life. Romanticize where you see yourself. Romanticize who you see yourself becoming. And I think that'll allow you to be such a more grounded person because it's like when you have yourself, you don't really need anyone else. Like, genuinely, like, all you need is God and yourself. Like, when you genuinely have love for, like, who you are, where you see yourself going, and everyone else is just like, people come and go, and that's okay. That's okay. You don't have attachments to people because you understand that we are put on this life for experiences. We are put in this life to experience people, emotion, things to further find out truths about who we truly are. That's what I believe. And I think that the more that we detach ourselves from this idea of who we think people should be in our life, detach ourselves from attachments, it'll be a lot easier to really just live life, let life live. And I think just that's just the biggest thing. And as a closing for the episode, this is the one of many, but essentially cinematic podcast series. This is something that I'm doing for myself. That this has nothing business related. This is literally just me speaking to me, talking to me, and talking to versions of myself along this journey. And so I'm excited to grow with you all. Excited to see where this team goes. You feel me? It's very unplanned, and I like it like that. Very authentic. I'm really just talking my shit. You feel me? And that's pretty much it. 21st birthday in Portugal. I mean, we doing our biggest one. It's only going to continue to evolve. So I want to say thank you all for listening. Thank you all for taking this ride and this journey with me, taking around 30, 40 minutes out your day to listen to me. And, blessings and more power to you. We out.